Hello, friends, and welcome to. I don't know. We haven't got a name for this yet.
XboxEra
Let's.
special, I called it.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. Let's roll with that. Um, I hope everyone is enjoying a pleasant weekend. How's everyone feeling? How are you feeling, Jesse? How are you feeling about
Um,
things?
I would say the same. For me, it just comes down to what are the plans to, and obviously the reason we're here, we have reported. John, man over there, wrote an article that's blown up, where Xbox has plans in place to release Starfield onto PlayStation post release of the DLC on PC and Xbox. And I do say plans. Tom Warren also reported they have plans for releasing Indiana Jones at some point after its Xbox and PC release, and then emphasized they are plans. They are not set in stone. They're not locked. I would say Hi-Fi Rush would probably be like the closest one. They are things they could pivot on, but people are not taking it well, which I understand
That's a
because
nice understatement you've just made.
it's just what's the like people are just immediately jumping to, well, there's no reason at all to own it. And it's like maybe eventually I could see that if they don't continue with hardware. I'm on the air or I'm on the side myself where I like the platform and I like the way it works. I like the way the cloud works. I like the way the controllers feel. I just like the platform enough where I don't care about the exclude. I also like Xbox's first party games, and those don't disappear. The very valid fear is this would be new. If these consoles don't have exclusives as like the main focus, that's never worked for anyone before. Now, obviously, Xbox is in a very different position than, say, like a Google or a Sega, which people keep referencing. But still, it's scary when you don't know. And I think the immediate emotional, visceral reaction is just outright feeling slapped in the face.
Yeah, and I didn't necessarily plan to post this today. Circumstances demanded that I do so. Which like, speaking as a human being, I feel honestly bad about. People have got to remember, like, XboxEra started as a group of folks that genuinely play on this platform, enjoy it, and felt that there wasn't enough good representation out there 5 years ago that actually talked about playing on the console, right? And we wanted to change that, and I feel like we have to a degree. And stepping into this type of reporting was daunting and is daunting. I felt sick for quite a while, right? Because there's a huge amount of
matched your name.
You're sick. Starfield's on PlayStation 5. But it is. We've the reason all of these rumors coming up. I started working on this on Friday, working with the sources and
we
also
should link that
reaching
article.
out for,
let me get it.
Yeah, we're reaching out for corroboration, which I got, right. So and we've seen follow-ups, like you mentioned it, Jesse, Tom Warren talking about similar plans. I remember all the conversation about where's the platforms for Indiana Jones, and with Tom Warren's report at The Verge. And again, let's see if we can stick that link in the chat. But there it is again. Like, these pieces are starting to connect together. I think the frustrating thing for me is these rumors have been around pre-Christmas, right? The opportunity has been there to come out and talk about it, and I think unfortunately the dam burst today. And I feel bad for all the human beings at the other end, all the PR teams, all the actual people. I don't feel bad for the company. I feel bad for the people that now have to race around figuring stuff out. But that is why places like this exist. It's why The Verge exists. It's why we try to exist. Is whilst we enjoy the platform, we also got to talk about it honestly. Even when they do things that necessarily we don't always agree with. And I think we do that. But yeah, that is where we're at. There's plenty of reaction, as you say, out there. I've seen that the report that I posted has been corroborated by Nate the Hate, which doesn't surprise me. So there was a deep sigh of relief from me, because that's my first experience of going through that process.
Scary.
I cast my mind back to the 2019 Bungie being bought rumor we posted, and we ended up seeing like a public denial from Pete Parsons at the time. And we were made to feel very silly, but we bounced back from that.
Turned out to be correct.
Even...
we just were correct in the wrong way.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, chat, hit us up with what you want to know, what you want to ask.
It's not the podcast, so I'll do a different background.
Fair.
There we go.
I like it.
But yeah, so from my end, I see a lot of people like, why would I use this? Why do I invest in it? I get it. No shade, anything like that. But from my end, as long as the hardware stays a thing, it doesn't change. So it's on them to sell people, to message correctly why their hardware is still worth investing in. Because I think that's the main concern people have. Because it's not like it disappears tomorrow. It's not like there is not going to be 20 games they release in the next couple of years that are all, in Game Pass day one. None of that changes. It's more the long-term thinking of, why would I continue to invest in a platform that I don't feel confident in? I'm more in the arena where, for me, the platform already was console and PC, and I mostly played console for reviews. Like, I've got a good PC, I'm just going to play on the PC normally, but whenever I'm doing a review, play on console, because that's what our audience is about. So how do they maintain why we should invest in Xbox hardware? Now, if the selling point is there's just going to be more than ever in Game Pass, and I know people are saying, like, oh, they'll just bring Game Pass everywhere. It's like, why would Sony or Nintendo let them bring Game Pass everywhere? They don't want... The most they might be able to do is first party only, and those ports are still supposedly later than initial hit, but they would never let them do a third party Game Pass on their platforms. Why would they? Like, the home for the biggest... The Tim Stewart line of first and best would literally be, they're there first, and our version of Game Pass just has a fuck ton of stuff in it compared to anywhere else.
I mean, and that's the thing, right? Not only that, like, you can't do the Game Pass as it is now on all platforms, because what third-party publisher would say, sign me up for this small amount, versus me selling it? Like,
that's like people
agree to that? People
talking about, well, why don't they just bring Steam onto their hardware, or why don't they just put Game Pass into Steam? And it's like, well, why does Steam want that, and what's the cut? And you can't put a PC onto a console, because then it's open up and people are going to get into it and get things they're not supposed to. It happens every time. It's not safe the way their console has actually been, where they haven't been hacked. But in the long run, it's an enormous company obviously having a fight internally. I have not asked you who your source is or anything like that. I don't know. I
wouldn't talk about it either.
My speculation just would be, this is very obviously someone on the side of, this isn't good, going to people over the last month or plus and really trying to push for this to blow up. And it definitely has. It has blown up a lot. It'll probably end up being one of our more read articles ever if it keeps on this pace. And there's 300 people in a stream late Sunday night. Like, it is a thing that people are very passionate about. They want their platform to feel secure and to make sense. And I'm very curious how do they end up saying that?
There's so much nuance to it, right? So I think about all of the dismissal of people that are being super, super emotional. So I'm going to do this in two ways. I've put a link in the private chat to a tweet, and I don't know if you can show it on the stream.
This is actually just a display. I can put anything right here.
Oh,
I don't run the video in StreamYard or in OBS anymore, because it did not run it very well.
No.
4K 68K bitrate AV1 files kind of killed it.
Yeah, fair. So Tom Warren did a great tweet, and I think that this is a succinct way of putting it, and I can't put it any better than myself. He said, worth stressing that Microsoft considering Xbox exclusive games for PS5. Remember, this is planned, right? It's not happened yet. For PS5 doesn't mean they'll 100% launch. it does show a big shift in Microsoft's Xbox strategy is emerging. Hi-Fi Rush looks to be one of the first. I think that one is going to happen no matter what way you cut it.
That one's so close and like seemingly already ready that I wouldn't think that one would get changed.
The big question is how many remain and when. That's the right way to kind of just deal with this right now. Okay, like if you're on the side that is super emotional, like you love your Xbox, you love gaming on it, you've made friends and memories there, and it's an important console to you. I'm in the same boat. I've made so many amazing friends playing on this platform, right? And I'm not dismissing any of the way that those people feel. But $3 trillion Microsoft, and I'm speaking about Microsoft, not speaking about the people there. $3 trillion Microsoft as a business does not care about any of that. They care about how do we maximize our return? How do we get the most out of
and it's even more just how do we make more than we did the last quarter?
The last quarter, yeah, absolutely.
Q2 24 needs to be bigger than Q2 23, which needed to be bigger than Q2 22. And I see people in the chat saying, how come we didn't cover this on the podcast? Because we were planning to report it on Monday after trying to get, a response from Bethesda and Microsoft, but we just, for reasons, we ended up having to go earlier than we had planned. That's all. We do have a super chat if you want to get to it.
Yeah. I mean, I'll just cover on that. Like, there are certain ways that we will do things. Like, if it's something that we can fully corroborate and report, we'll do this. If it's something that we're just hearing, it's just scuttlebutt, right? Mm-hmm. That's okay. We can just talk about it in a rumor mill. That's the difference, right? I think.
And I would say people in chat, like Jez is saying. I think Jez was more just saying, like, if they're doing this, then you can probably expect this. He's not. If it's in a tweet, it's like maybe heard something, but more just feelings. If it's in an article, because his article doesn't say that. His article mostly just sources us and Tom and stuff.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And a super chat from, there's a few actually. I don't, which one was first? Shadow. Where are you? Your name?
Yeah, Shadowless AU was first.
That's it. Yeah. I'd be okay with this if platform exclusives came to us. The more people enjoying the game, the better. I just don't see us getting games from PlayStation and Nintendo. You're right. I feel like this. There's two things here. There's a million things here, and I'm speaking not from a source of absolute knowledge, but this is just a gut feel, right? So I'm just trying to hedge my bets carefully. There's a couple of different avenues to look at this. You could look at Microsoft looking at the EU taking Apple and Google and going, hey, your walled garden isn't okay. You have to allow everything everywhere. We're going to do the same to all walled gardens. Stop it. Now, is that going to affect consoles? That's a bet you could make, but it's not reality yet. But if you play on that bet now, you're setting yourself up for success early. That's one play, right? But you're right. This is not a two-way street. And this is the difference. Sony is not a $1 trillion company, right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
No,
Nintendo is not.
No, Sony as a company has been struggling while PlayStation makes a lot of money. But PlayStation has been so there goes things. This isn't like, I know people always say, oh, you're just defending or deflecting. It's like, no, it's just the reality. Nintendo doesn't make Nintendo doesn't make anywhere near as much as the others, but they don't spend anywhere as much as the others. So they end up keeping more of what they earn, which ends up being more than what either of the other ones earn. Sony makes more than everyone and spends more than everyone. And their margin for last time was under 5%. Like, they kept under 5% of the money they made. They made like many billions and kept like 300 million, which to us is like, oh shit, 300 million. But for them, they're spending a ton of money to try to grow, but they're mostly just maintaining what they did in the PS4 era. And Xbox is in the situation where they're making more money than ever. Last quarter did cost a lot of money with the integration, where they didn't end up really making much because they had to spend $1 billion to get ABK integrated, and even that's not anywhere near done. So they all have different approaches. They all have different results, and like none of it's working for Xbox or PlayStation the same way it works for Nintendo, where Nintendo is the powered by exclusives. Like, they are the ones where people come there for their software.
And we talk about them not spending as much. Their games, the level of fidelity is just nowhere near as high, so it doesn't cost as much to make, right? The focus is still on being a toy company. Video games are just expensive toys, right? And you take all this into account. Microsoft is just in a different position, right? And I think the fact that they've now overtaken gaming within Microsoft has overtaken Windows. The staple of what Microsoft is known for. Gaming is bigger than Windows now. Oh shit. Well, of course, now some people further up that chain that ignored the garage band that was Xbox within Microsoft, and now they're paying attention. And that's, I feel, and again, this is all conjecture, that's the internal struggle that's going on. And I think that's where some of these rumors have started to come out and be able to be corroborated, right? It's messy, and I understand the emotional reaction. I think we've got another super chat here from William Carew. How can I trust Microsoft when they go back on their word? And this is the point, right? Microsoft, rightly or wrongly, this was happening in December. This stuff started to bubble up. And we've reported on Starfield today. We haven't reported on all of the other things we heard. Why? Because I couldn't corroborate everything I've heard, right? We've had Stephen Totillo on record saying, yep, Sea of Thieves is definitely happening, I believe. We've had Tom Warren, Hi-Fi Rush. We've said Hi-Fi Rush. There are stuff that we can corroborate, but there's stuff that's clearly all part of a larger, what's our strategy? And I think as part of this whole integration from buying the world's biggest publisher, or one of, well, naturally, you are now one Microsoft. So that's triggered a lot of conversation internally, and that's leaked out over the edges into the public sphere. The fact that Microsoft haven't taken the opportunity to say something, one, they probably haven't made a final decision yet. Remember, this is all in discussion. So how can they? But maybe this is, we've seen it work before when they've tried to do things like when they raised the gold price on Xbox Live Gold.
Yeah.
The fans pushed back. And there's a tweet, I saw it earlier, that I'd like to share if I can find the damn thing, from Gembox360, who's the community manager for Windows Central Gaming. I'll put the link in the chat for you to show it on screen. She said, whichever side of the coin you fall with this exclusivity stuff, the damage that's being done to the community and how this has been allowed to spiral over the last few weeks is hugely irresponsible of Xbox leadership. A fan base has been purposely built and it's crumbling. And I think this is the other side of the coin, and why I have perhaps a little more patience for the emotional reactions from people.
Yeah, I know on the forums and on the Discord, there's only been moderation if people start attacking each other, which tends to happen when emotions are running high.
Exactly, right. But it's all over the place. People saying, that's it, I'm out. I'm going to go cancel my Game Pass subscription. I popped onto Iron Lords earlier this evening because they were live when this broke. And, King was like, vote with your wallet. You send Microsoft a message, go cancel your Game Pass subscription. And I'm like, well, Microsoft haven't said anything yet, right? And now they have to, and soon, I would imagine. But the way Microsoft have over the last, I'm going to say 10 years, not the whole time of Xbox, but certainly over the rough years from mid Xbox One gen on, the way they've deepened the relationship directly with fans, fan fests and gatherings and interacting and signal boosting Xbox Twitter accounts like TimDog, for example, and just generally having that back and forth at a very human level. That's created a more back and forth relationship for those people and those fans, and the other fans see it and they all feel included and loved, right, by brand. I don't want to sound cynical when I say this, but this is why I understand the big overreaction, is because they feel personally betrayed by this. They wanted their time to win, and potentially Microsoft are winning in terms of they're going to make the most money, right? But they're winning in not that way, Microsoft. We didn't want you to win that way. and you get the kind of overreactions that we've been seeing. It's carnage, and it's going to be
And
carnage.
it's a weird situation because they haven't. This wouldn't have been known if obviously either I'm sure the Russian hack with the emails is kind of when it first started being bandied about a bit, about specifically Sea of Thieves and Hi-Fi Rush. But then the only thing you can think of is, why do you know? Why does Tom Warren know? Well, because somebody in the organization probably, or somebody in the know some way, isn't happy about it and wants it out there and for people to get upset. And so
God knows.
it's one of those things where you're just like, this wouldn't actually be a story or a thing, and people would just be finding something else to complain about, because we hardly ever actually talk about games, which would be nice to be able to do sometimes. But it's probably a weird situation. They were not ready to respond to. Like, if you're in the middle of an argument internally about what you're going to do, and then that argument spills into the public, which is the hardest place to have proper messaging, then I'm not shocked they haven't said anything yet, but they definitely most likely have to within the next few days, whatever that ends up being.
Yeah, I agree. There's lots going on right now.
Yeah, we got 3 more super chats. I can't keep up with chats, so super chats are the only way I can really pay attention.
No, that's fine. The chat is crazy today. 400 folks watching, and look, appreciate you here. We're just doing this off the cuff. It's midnight for me. It's a school night. It's a school day tomorrow. I've got to get up early and get the kids up. But we know that there's a lot of, I guess, concern out there. I would imagine that the folks at Microsoft they're aware of this, and they're now, they're already been aware of it, but they're very much aware of it.
And I see your ping about that to me on the Discord.
That's the reason I've pinged you. Let's not talk
another
about
person that hadn't been on for over a year. We've had a lot of that today. People showing up pretty upset.
Yeah. So I just want to urge calm, but let's have a look at these super chats. Let's see what's going on.
I think the first one was
James Hubbard.
James Hubbard lives in a cupboard.
So James Hubbard, he says, I mostly play on my Xbox, but I own all of the platforms. I don't really care about this issue, but I understand why there's it. And that's kind of
where both of us are. Yeah, we're both in the. For me, it doesn't change much as long as they keep making hardware. Obviously, from the job perspective side, we can transition. Like, if you like our coverage, we're not going to go anywhere. If Xbox was third party, like, we would just cover gaming. That's what we do. we would cover video games. That's what we do. But I'm in the position where my only worry is about their hardware. Other than that, I don't personally care, because what are they going to do with all the extra money they make? They're just going to make more games and sign more Game Pass deals, most likely. I don't think it's going to be a negative outside of the people who have the very real concern about how long do they keep making consoles. And like, I'm used to carrying my purchases forward now. If it was old generations and purchases were just dead right at the beginning, then, every generation's a reset anyways. But now that people are used to it, and I'm kind of curious, does the Switch 2 have full back compat? Does the PS6 have full back compat? Because Nintendo's Nintendo, and Sony's got a really weird setup to maintain back compat, where it hamstrings them severely with their CU counts and everything that they but yeah, so it's going to be fuck. It's gonna be a lot.
It's gonna be a journey. I can see Nate the Hate is in the chat.
Hello, Nate.
And appreciate you corroborating, what I've reported on. I agree with you. I also wanted a better timeline of release. But clearly these discussions are very much ongoing. But I think it was pertinent to know that this was in the discussion. Hence why we did it. But yes, let's have a look at the other super chats that we've got coming in.
Next one's Jason.
From everybody. Jason, what a lovely chap. Support these folks on Patreon, says Jason. Hit the like button, etc. Appreciate the extra content and reporting, fellas. Keep it up. You're going to see a lot more of this from me and Jesse.
Yeah. Our only goal is to get bigger. This be damned. This doesn't change anything. You're gonna see more and more of us. Hell, I'm doing another friggin' Mega Bloks build. I got the Halo elephant coming in. We're expanding.
So cool. I'm a bit jealous. that you're getting all these cool
Mattel's
toys?
nice. I could probably get you something. They're really happy about it.
I have kids.
Also
I have young kids.
yeah, Bandai Namco is sending the Tekken 8 Deluxe Edition. I didn't even ask or know. They just said, "Hey, by the way," and then gave me a tracking info. I was like, "What the fuck?" But yeah, we're getting big, and we're always gonna have plenty to cover, even no matter how this turns
gaming
out.
is bigger than ever.
Yeah,
gaming is bigger than ever, and Xbox owns a lot, and we're going to be able to talk about a lot for a long time going forward.
Skip ads.
I'm not suddenly freaking out that we're going to have to rebrand
It didn't
or
do
anything like that.
I skipped ads and it didn't break. YouTube's working better
nice.
tonight. Also, my internet's it was 450 down and almost 30 up. So better internet tonight. Wish I could have had that yesterday.
Yeah, the technical issues for the podcast yesterday were painful, especially. And if you're listening on audio, podcast fans, apologies for the edits. I had to kind of there was lots of silence that went through the MP3. So, but look, if you are interested in supporting us on Patreon, why not? I'm going to mention it. Patreon.com/XboxEra. We're completely community funded, right? It's literally you guys enable all of our reporting, our website, our forums, our web applications like Day One. It's all thanks to you guys. So much love to everybody that does support us there.
It's the only reason I get to do things so full time.
Yeah.
Oh, for this
review crew,
we have merch.
We got Andrew.
We're bad about it.
We do have merch. Andrew Norris in the chat.
I like the name.
It's a good name. Should we expect to see resignations from Phil Matt?
No.
That would do more to reduce my confidence in the future platform. No, I would not expect to see resignations from anybody. It's unfortunate that it has spilled out to the point where it can be reported on for Microsoft. But I would also say that, as fans of the platform, the conversation has always been seemingly two-way. And to a degree, I don't think it's fair for Microsoft to not enable that two-way conversation on something of this nature, or at least to be upfront about it directly. But I can also understand there's a huge amount of transition work and integration work following the Activision Blizzard King acquisition. It's probably a big, old, difficult stress fest over there, and I feel bad for the human beings that are having to probably have meetings on a Sunday. Next up, we've got Kevin Sanchez, member for 6 months on YouTube, XboxEra supporter. Way to break the internet, John.
Thank you, Korkenstein.
Yeah. Mohammed Sherez, the wonderful Mohammed Sherez. The sudden flip in direction sounds like a business decision. Phil Spencer must feel a little disappointed if his strategy was torn up. I can't comment on whose strategy this is, right? I've been told of sentiments towards that, but it's not something I'd report on.
For their social media team and stuff, they'll need to comment sooner than later. Also, I'm starting to get triggered. We're not at the same pixel distance. I'm further from the right. I gotta fix it. I threw this 2-person thing together real quick, and now it's starting to bother me.
I think you did okay, mate. I think you did okay.
Got another one. Another super chat.
Yeah, and if you folks are wondering why Nick isn't here, it's middle of the day for Australia. So he's
middle of his work.
We can't just call them up and be like, yeah.
Unless we got big enough on Patreon, and then everyone could just do full time.
That's theory. That's true. That's true. Let's have a look. Shadowless AU in the chat says, do you think we'll see Xbox achievements on PS and Switch, PlayStation and Switch, similar to what we've seen on Ori, Minecraft, and Dungeons on Switch in the past? So this is all conjecture, right? But you're talking about when I load a Microsoft game, I'm going to log into my Xbox account. It will register the achievements there, and I'll be able to go and unlock them. I don't know. It makes no sense not to do that. But who knows at this point? And this is all the kinds of stuff that Microsoft really needs to communicate. This decision could be being made because of a change in hardware strategy. It's all out in the open, and it's going to be an interesting couple of weeks, I think. But yeah, I would imagine that would be a great way for it to work if that's how it's going to be. But that's the idea, right? Xbox, the Game Pass is the platform, so the hardware doesn't go away. I can still buy a box, and I can, with my Game Pass sub, get all of my games as part of that subscription. Or if I don't want to do that, I can pay $70 or whatever a go for each one on any other platform. They already do this on PC. It's worth bearing that in mind. They do this on Steam. That is not a Microsoft platform. Steam is a competitor, but they give that 30% cut. Why? Because it's worth it. And because, frankly, PC gamers aren't going anywhere, and Microsoft's PC.
Funnily enough, no achievements in the Steam version of Starfield. I don't think it is its own build, essentially.
It's Steam achievements, isn't it?
Yeah, but some of the other ones you do get them, but not that one. But I mean, Bethesda probably already had literally their whole thing built and building around. Like, that's also one thing why these two to start with, it was definitely like things that have already been in the works. They already probably had work for a PlayStation 5 version done, so it's just easiest. Yeah,
that's
easiest to go down that route.
Definitely, I think that's definitely a part of it. Like Microsoft buys Bethesda, Hi-Fi Rush and Starfield were already in development. We can pick those builds up, right? Optimize them. We can make some cash a year later. I'm
pulling the neck. My wife just brought me McDonald's.
Well, that's because your wife's awesome. Radosky in the chat. It is Bald John's fault. Mohawk John was fine. I agree. It was the one thing keeping me under control. I do miss it. Like, I know the chat voted that bald was better, but I don't like having hair. This was I don't know. This was a mistake. So Starfield on PlayStation. What do you think? I guess what do you think? How do Microsoft message this? What do you think? They come out. Let's say they come out tomorrow and be like, "Let's talk." How do they message it? Tom Warren in the chat. Thanks for ruining my Sunday. Sorry, Tom. You're muted, Jesse, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I was sneezing. I was going to say, I don't know, because whoever does know probably gets paid a ton of money, because I have no idea how you can properly do it with how people are about this stuff.
Yeah. Well, I don't get any of this. I've just got my kids asleep upstairs. So, and folks, don't expect the show to go on for ages. We just wanted to hop on and just talk about it.
Unless you keep sending super chats, and then we are forced to stay on.
I can be a bit of a night owl, but I don't know how long the conversation can go on for. Another super chat from Kevin Sanchez says, I'd expect an announcement acknowledgement from Phil this week or next. They had to know this might have been a reaction and had a damage control plan.
Yeah, never know. But also, there was another chat from Reese as well up above, and then another one from Brian.
Oh, God.
I can't read the name. Sorry, it's probably Polish.
Not sure. I'll find it. I will find it.
Yeah, Reese. RHYS is one too.
As I understand it, as I said in the report, I think Hi-Fi Rush is tentatively scheduled for this quarter for releasing elsewhere. And I think the discussion was or the strategy discussion, or however we've labeled this, was at some point this month. Maybe that timeline's going to be brought up a bit. I don't know. Let's have a look. We've got Reese who says, I love both, but objectively watching Microsoft take 10 steps forward just to take insert number back is frustrating. It's an avoidable own goal. I can understand the sentiment. I can understand it. I don't know if what was the conversation? People talking about the Xbox One gen, and that the numbers guys said, people were watching Netflix. And then Microsoft listened to those guys, and then we got the Xbox One. Numbers don't always tell the whole story of how gaming works. But I would also say and this is I guess the more frustrating thing, or the more amusing thing to me, is that for the last two years ish, like 2022, I give it to you, it was rough, but you could see the games coming. 2023 was incredible, but it didn't move consoles. Not enough. So when you're $1 trillion Microsoft and the numbers must go up, how do you do that? Well, this is one way, right? This is one way to make the numbers go up. Is it the right way? It's open to interpretation. Brian Kierzik, apologies if I've massacred your surname, my man. Not looking forward to all the fallout from this. Yeah, that could be one. Not looking forward to all the fallout from this, but I would like to congratulate you on breaking the story, and hopefully it helps your website grow.
But what if the story kills our website because nobody wants to follow the platform?
Yeah. Who knows? We need to quickly change the name. No Xbox in it. Foreman says no sleep till Brooklyn, and Jason says, if I super chat enough, can we get a quick Nick appearance, Ran?
Well, I just started getting DMs from Nick saying, how come you didn't tell me there was going to be a show? It's like, well, I thought you were working, and then he said, no, I took today off.
What?
His wife's birthday.
Oh, let's get him in. It's his wife's birthday.
Mm-hmm.
He still wants to come on.
The man's dedicated.
Oh, Nick. Oh, I love you. His wife is one patient lady. I guess you might get a Nick appearance and a rant.
Mm-hmm. It's just the normal podcast setup, so I'll just hop over to that one if he does.
Yeah,
that will look like a podcast.
It would become an XboxEra podcast special at that point.
Oh, he said no. They're about to go out shopping anyway, so no.
Okay, so yeah, we figured it was too short notice. We love you, Nick, but we just assumed you were working, bro.
And go enjoy her birthday.
Yeah, go. You know,
once you've been together long enough, though, the wife kind of just like, yeah, you're gonna go. That's fine. We'll do another day.
There's a lot more patience.
And I would like to say the only thing from my end is I just don't start insulting people. Like, thankfully, chat's been fine. Forum hasn't. Discord's mostly. So I think the community we have fostered is more mature in how they can express disappointment, if that works. Like, just you can express your full disappointment and not be just constantly attacking people, because I've seen it's been really bad in some of the other chats and Twitter threads and stuff I've seen with people just really losing it. And it's like, I understand the anger or reticence for this type of potential change, but also it is still just video games, and you don't have to call for people to be killed. I banned a couple people for that. It's like, you should stop. Seeing people call for people to be fired, all this sort of stuff, like, get a grip. All right, it is just video games, and it's been nice actually reading. It's rare you read a YouTube chat, but it's always the case with the XboxEra community. And we do not have a big block list. We've just engendered a nice, like, we have a very small shadow ban list that is almost entirely porn bots. So, and that one yesterday about learning Arabic, he really wanted us to learn Arabic.
Yeah, that was a funny bot. I haven't seen one of them in a while.
That's why I normally have like a 3 seconds between messages, because otherwise he would have put like 700 links in a row. So that's why I always have a little delay, because it hurts the bots when they spam.
I've got a DM from someone that is well known. He's got a unique name. I'm just reading it. Like, I haven't accepted the message request on Twitter, but asking me to source for the article because he broke the story a long time ago, and I'm like, no, bro. I've got to send you this. This is gold. Nah, man.
We got we have some weirdo named Ursel who sent us a super chat. It's too handsome. I don't like it.
He is a handsome devil. Hair, luxurious hair.
Unlike me.
Ursel says, what does Xbox do to keep 3P
third party support?
Oh, okay. for the console? That's the question, right?
That's up to
Because
them.
they need to find a way through on that.
I do think like a lot of shows and a lot of streams are people just saying what they think they should do. And while we have opinions like that from time to time, if we did know, we'd be looking for jobs in the industry to try and figure that out, because it's a really hard thing, a really high paying, thing to be able to be that good at running a business like that. So I know like the last couple of podcasts, it keeps coming up, but we are just normal people from the outside looking at it. And I try to talk to the industry people I know, and they mostly just laugh about how people lose their shit when they're like, yeah, this makes all the sense in the world. And it's like, I understand how it does, but we are also a part of the group that is very, very focused on how things have always worked. It's just what we know. We know exclusives to sell your hardware. That has been the industry, because it used to be way more.
How it's been.
Yeah, and it was very bespoke hardware, and so getting a game here and it would run completely different here because they just weren't the same. But now everything just essentially is either mini PC or, in the Switch's case, a tablet. Like it's not that different anymore. So logically, when you're a businessman who makes buco bucks for making number go up, it's a dumb system. It is a dumb system, but it's how it works. And you've got all your customers used to that and that know that, and you have to sell them on it properly. Now, obviously, with all the leaks, they don't get to message it. How they could have messaged it, I don't know. But now they definitely don't get to, which very much hurts trying to transition people. I don't think it's like a TV kind of transition where they're just arrogant and dumb, because they haven't actually messaged anything yet. So, but how they could do that, I don't know.
There's lots of questions about what happens to Xbox hardware with this.
Good.
And I can see the conversation going on in the chat. Tom's responding to some of the questions. Tom Warren of The Verge says Xbox hardware isn't dead. There's going to be lots of Xbox consoles. Yeah, I mean, and I didn't put this in the report, and I'm not going to go into detail, but I've heard about some of the strategies that are under consideration, I guess, or planned, I suppose is another way of putting it.
I haven't heard.
For the next,
but if I had to guess, like the actual console market has been plateaued for a long time. So most of the strategy,
this is it.
Most of the strategies are, I'm going to pull from them, and I'm going to pull from them to grow me a little more. And Phil talked a lot about, I don't want to just pull from them. That could happen naturally if we have really good games and services. I want to make the actual pie bigger. So even if we're still just getting a little bit of this console, we're getting a bunch of all this other stuff, and we make more money. And then we get to keep making games and having better services and all that. So like the old school lose money on hardware, sell it at a loss to try and put people into your ecosystem system only goes so far. Like Nintendo's the only one who doesn't lose money on their hardware, but even they hit a plateau essentially. And if they miss, like with the Wii U, it's devastating. Trying to figure out what could work better, what could be more sustainable, what could make more money and have more growth makes all the sense in the world. It's on them to do that, because obviously you and I have no clue. We don't know how it is to make a console or run a platform or anything like that. I am very curious what the ideas could be. I'm very curious now, how do they sell that? Because their messaging is just, it's gone. They don't get to do the initial reveal anymore on any changes. It is an ingrained thing in their hardcore fandom's mind that they can't change. So all they can do is try and, how are they going to massage it if they still go in that direction?
Like,
or do they
do you remember the reaction when they were like, we're going to start releasing our games on PC, and there was a subset of the fan base that completely flipped out, and there was, I can't remember who it was it Crap Gamer? Phil quoted his tweet and said, let me guess, you're going to cancel pre-order for a game because someone else can play the same game that you really want to play? Like, what? And on a base level, that completely makes sense, and they got that one through. They stuck at it. And people were like, Microsoft and Windows, that kind of makes sense. We can agree with that. That's okay. But this feels like, for the majority of that same fan base, a step too far. It is to your point,
It's
Jesse.
very
It's
different.
conceding to the other side and all of that
No.
silly nonsense.
I think we do have 2 more super chats.
Thank you for keeping me honest on the super chats.
Charlie
I can see someone
Thompson.
in the chat. Hey, Sick, is Phil going to be mad at you? I hope not. I
He,
hope not.
from everything we know about him, he's not in the. It's not our job to help
He
their
doesn't
marketing.
take it personally.
Yeah, it's their job to not have leaks. Like, as long as you're being honest and doing good reporting, I don't think Phil's ever had a problem with it. It's more the sensational clickbait stuff I would imagine anyone in that position would get frustrated with. But even then, you can't assume.
I think he still likes Nick, so
That's hard.
And we barely love Nick. Charlie Thompson, this decision makes no sense for growing Game Pass. What if you're releasing a first-party only Game Pass across your other competing platforms? I'm not saying they would allow it, but what if that was your objective? That grows Game Pass significantly.
And like, if the growth for Game Pass is to get more money, to have a bigger budget on Game Pass, like if your money keep going up, budgets can increase. Like, they're a quarterly company. If they do this and it's a huge success and they make a ton of money, and then that goes back into the business, because it's not like they don't earn the money to save it. They earn the money to spend it quite often to then make more money. So like, even like ABK wasn't a purchase, it was an investment. They bought a bunch of things to keep them making more money, and that immediately happened. So that wouldn't be like the impetus on why you do a move like this, because they've been talking about this for a long time. Every time you heard Tim Stewart talk and stuff, it felt pretty clear that is the way he wanted to go with it as the CFO of the company. Maybe he's the one that won out. I have no idea. Nick kept yelling about him yesterday, so it just always makes me wonder, Nick's not good at hiding things.
No, he's a codes fella. How do you so another super chat from Mauler X? They did this because of metrics or whatever. Did they consider the metrics if and when people start abandoning ship en masse? I mean, I don't think there's a huge glut of people that tomorrow, like genuinely a huge glut of people in terms of millions, that are going to suddenly unplug their Xbox or throw it out the window. Ping me any links if there's an amusing YouTube video of an Xbox getting chucked out the window or set on fire.
There will be. There's another super chat from Andrew Norris up above too.
Yes, I saw it. Yeah. But look, again, I talk about the relationship Microsoft has with the fan base that it has built. It's a two-way street. They tried to raise the gold prices. Microsoft heard loud and clear, "Are you kidding me? In the pandemic, are you nuts?" And they stopped. I'm not saying that this is going to happen here. For certain titles, I don't think anything is going to stop Hi-Fi Rush from dropping elsewhere. But for other titles, people can make their thoughts known, and we're going to see a lot of it over the coming week about this discussion, unfortunately. But it serves its purpose, right? It will force that conversation to be front and center. That's what reporting on stuff is all about. Andrew Norris, referencing his earlier super chat, he says, "By the way, I'm not saying they should resign, just that if there's a battle going on, those opposing could protest with a resignation." That would be I mean, again, though, I'm trying to think. This isn't like some unethical thing that I'm going to resign. This is unethical. It's just video games. Like, I understand the sentiment.
I guess the only sentiment would be, well, what if it I'm protesting because I think this is going to kill the brand type of thing, like that. Maybe that angle. That would be the only one I could think of, really, because otherwise it's just like devs are going to be happy. They're going to be like, yes, more people get to play the stuff we just spent 6 years of our life on or more. Like, devs are always all about having their shit released everywhere. Like, why wouldn't they be, essentially?
Yeah, exactly. Like, from a developer perspective, they want their games everywhere humanly possible, please. Why would you want to limit that? Ursel, he says, "How do you sell Game Pass on other platforms without games?" I'm not quite sure if I understand the question. My assumption would be, I'm Microsoft. Hey Sony, hey Nintendo, I am going to release, like EA Play does, right? EA Play exists on PlayStation, correct? Ubisoft Plus exists,
Eventually, it was not there for years because they were like, "This
right?
is not a good value proposition."
Yeah. So you make a subscription, right? And you say, hey, yep, we're going to do this. You can get all of our first-party games on this subscription service on your PlayStation. Off you go.
It would
But it's
probably
just the
only
first-party
be,
ones.
and if I'm curious if it could be old ones or not. I'm guessing yes, they own them, but who knows? The COD marketing deal ends this year, so well, for last year's game. But yeah, so much of it ends up coming down to just things we can't know, like what's the messaging going to be? What are their plans for hardware? What are their plans on games? What are they thinking? What are the internal struggles? How does it end up? Like, it's a ton of conjecture. It's people jumping to worst case, which from the beginning, I've understood. But it was always the thing, like, well, what if this is the worst thing that happens? And right now, the worst thing is, well, why would I invest in their hardware? Because I think it's just going to be gone. Now, I don't think that's likely because I think their strategy is to grow, not to lose their main current, source of revenue. But I get the consternation about the possibility that could go away. Just, man, it's going to be extremely complicated, and I'm guessing they weren't doing anything super soon or announcing anything super soon because of how complicated it is. And now their whole timeline just got kicked way out of whack.
Sorry, Microsoft.
No, it's not even. It's just there's been 10 things now. It's just not stopped.
It's been floating around since December, man. It was only a matter of time until people dug into it, and we saw Tom's article on Indiana Jones dropped very shortly after mine, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting thing, but you think about Microsoft's messaging over the last 10 years, 3 billion gamers, play anywhere. We want to reach all those gamers. This is about exclusive games where Game Pass exists. You got to think about all of this stuff. They've not
never said fully exclusive. That counts for timed.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I hate slicing up the minutiae of words like that,
mm-hmm. but that's business. Unfortunately, that's why they get paid so much.
Yeah, my point is that the messaging in terms of what Microsoft's ambitions are for gaming, when we all play, everybody, those mantras arguably fit within this mindset, right? That's no secret. They've not hidden that away. The problem is with the interaction with fans on a day-to-day or a week-to-week or a year-to-year basis is somewhat more nuanced than the big picture messaging. So I'm very curious. Like, I think about who and how this message can or will be delivered. Where do you even begin? What format do you do it in? A round table where you have an Xbox
I've got an extra chair here I can go to. Phil, hop in.
I mean, there is a part of me that would love, the way interviews are conducted are often heavily controlled, and for good reason, right? You do not want, like,
it's a world-dominating public company. You can't say the wrong thing in public. It can do a lot of damage,
right? But I think back to and a prime example of an interview that's been allowed to completely, there's no one from PR coaching you here or preventing or controlling the conversation. Remember the interview? I think it was either Rock Paper Shotgun or PC Gamer did with Peter Molyneux, and they just like, do you think you're a habitual liar? And holy crap, that interview went off the rails. I would love to at some point have a similar kind of and some of my favorite interview styles, like Jeff Gersman sitting on the sofa, giant bomb. Jeff Grubb did a brilliant job with Phil, Matt Booty and team last year, I want to say, or year before, whenever it was.
I thought it was I think it was, geez, I don't even remember now.
I think it was last year.
Yeah.
That kind of interview style where it's a very candid and direct conversation is much more preferable to me, because I think sometimes I get frustrated that the questions I would ask are not asked.
Yeah, you need the back and forth where it's not too many people as well.
Yeah,
for an actual interview,
you need a little bit of of humility between the two hosts. Let's have a look at what else the folks are asking in the chat.
You don't get to sleep, John.
Yeah, tell me about it. Ryan P, get Nick in here. Nick's celebrating his wife's birthday. Leave them be. You know, we didn't invite him because we thought it was working, and he was like, "Oh, why didn't you invite me?" And then we were like, "Well, jump on." And
He was like, "I
"Oh,
would have made,
okay, yeah."
I would have made arrangements." I'm like, "No, just go spend time with your wife. It's fine."
Yeah. 99 Rukin says, I think it helps Microsoft with the FTC and future buyers. Do you want that? Because the bigger Microsoft is huge now, like in terms of its gaming reach, the more that they will feel compelled to sell on multiple platforms.
If it gets those games in Game Pass, I think that's good for us. But as long as
definitely great,
because Game Pass is always going to be first focused on this console, as far as they're not going to have a third-party equivalent on like other consoles. Not unless it just wouldn't be a thing. I don't think either other platform holder would be interested in. So
yeah. DS Omen says, could this be a ploy to get Game Pass on PlayStation 5? I wouldn't use the word ploy. Is that an eventual goal of this new strategy? We don't know. Like, until this is the thing, like, you're going to get a lot of I don't know until Microsoft come out and explain to us what the strategy truly is and where the buck stops, if there is a buck that stops. We're waiting on that, and it would be improper of us to comment.
I see people in the chat like, why would you care if they buy more if it's not exclusive? It's like, well, because I like things being in Game Pass, and then I don't have to buy them. It's like, if the difference is exclusive and it costs $70 on every game, or not exclusive and it's in Game Pass, I'm taking the latter every time. It saves me insane amounts of money over the years with how many things I play. That's not going to be everyone. There's the most people don't buy a ton of stuff. But more do when they're on a subscription service and they get to try it out and they really like it. And like, oh, I'm going to buy this now. And it's on 10% less type of thing. The main reason why is, first off, it assumes day and date and it assumes everything. And if it's not day and date and it's not everything, then it is to get things first on a platform you enjoy using more in a subscription service that saves you a ton of money if you're going to play those games. But I think much like Ubisoft was fine with people just signing up for a month to play Prince of Persia for $18 instead of spending $50, they want everything. They want the people that go all in and buy. They want the people that subscribe. They want the people that jump in here or buy it here, or I buy everything I have on Steam because I got a Steam Deck. Like, their strategy appears to be just the only way forward is to be everywhere. That is how we can grow the way we want to.
Yeah, man, it's going to be like, I'm just thinking about what the year ahead means. Like, we went into this year thinking, oh my God, okay, well, 2023 was nuts. They kicked off 2024. These rumors were bubbling, and they did this great showcase. And I remember Stein. I'm
not putting lipstick on a pig. I'm just trying to talk about it naturally and not overly emotional.
Okay.
Yeah, Nick wrote F, but I have no drop frames, so he's a liar.
He's Nick in the chat.
Mm-hmm. His wife is driving.
Yeah, don't text to drive. I don't know, man. Like, we went into this year thinking, okay, this is great. I remember the Stein did that tweet that kind of joked about the uproar of the conversation. Like, he kind of acknowledged it. Do you know the tweet I mean? Xbox fans this week, and it was like one side, and then they did the showcase, the developer direct, and boom, suddenly everyone was like, yay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the up and down, because the month before PlayStation was dying because people saw their margins and they saw the stuff in the Insomniac hack, and then it jumped over to Xbox with the exclusive stuff, and it's just it's a constant back and forth, up and down, essentially, for who's dying next.
Yeah,
but this one's been long.
This is a long death spiral, right? Like, there's not much else to say. I'm very curious on what and how the messaging gets delivered. Like, who is the person that delivers this message? Is it Phil? Is it Sarah? Is it Satya? Is it who's getting pushed out in front of the camera in the public eye to if they stick this path, if they come and do it, because I can't, and I'm being honest, this is my personal point of view. I don't see a way in any way, shape, or form. I don't know what your opinion is, Jesse, and chat certainly let us know. I don't see a way of successfully messaging this in any kind of context that the broader community will just go, oh, okay, yeah, all right, cool, no worries.
Yeah, not now, not with the way this has just gone on for the past few weeks and then blown up like this. Like the meetings that we're having to try and figure out messaging, probably knowing it wasn't going to work for most, but if they could just get it to work for enough, I don't know. And whoever can, if anyone can figure that out, they are earning a very high paycheck, because it's going to be a very difficult needle to thread.
Yeah. What you want is the kind of, I guess from an interviewer perspective, is the kind of interviewer that asks the questions that the community is all asking, and then to have salient, good answers to those
and not
questions.
And not the angry ones, the ones that you can actually get an answer on too. You can't just
exactly.
You can't rage bait.
Why aren't you killing PlayStation finally? Like that's not the objective, right?
Do you idiots just not care about consoles? And like, it just there are nice ways. There are, you got to be PR friendly in some way. You can't. They're not going to let you just put someone in a bad position like that. And Phil will know how to talk around it all. Anyways, that's one of the main things about being an executive, is you got to be good at saying much without actually saying much. But it sounds good, so people are happy.
I would ask questions like, as an Xbox customer, how do you safeguard, my purchase? How do I feel safe that, in 10 years, the digital library I've built on the hardware that can run it, that you guys support, is going to continue forever, in perpetuity? Because I think people could buy on Steam and be pretty comfortable that that's never going anywhere. But in this world, and Microsoft should be applauded for all of the efforts they've done on backwards compatibility and stuff like that. But if at some point, and I know this is worst case scenario, doom and gloom, but if at some point that changes and that platform goes away, what do you do? How do you message that?
Mm-hmm.
How do you answer that question? Because it's so far away. How can you answer that question? You can't make a promise for 10, 15 years from now that, don't worry, we'll still make hardware, because who knows what the world's going to be like in 10, 15 years. Oh, man, it's I wouldn't want to do it.
And Remake Station says, we know our channel's pretty much done for. And like, no, if people like our coverage of video games, we will still be here covering video games.
Yeah, we love games, right? We play on the Xbox platform because it's, in our opinion, the best ecosystem on which to play. And I honestly, it's my preferred controller, and that will never change. Asymmetric sticks for life. But yeah, like we're not going to go anywhere. But I also understand that lots of, you think about the broader Xbox content creator community, the YouTubers and the
those focused on spirited back and forths.
Yeah, like what do they do now? Like, I put it this way, the kind of channels that just deal in back and forth Twitter shitty vitriol. Do you know the type I mean? That it's just console wars crap, negativity all the time. What do they do now? Because this is a death knell to them in their us versus you, Xbox versus PlayStation fight. They're screwed. And I think it's pertinent to ask the question. You don't see XboxEra or Ubisoft era. You just don't see that for a third-party publisher. So at what point does Xbox stop becoming a platform? Again, this is all just conjecture. I'm just talking out loud. Interestingly, Paul Tassi of the Forbes Variety, he's put a tweet up, and I'll put a link so you can show it in the private chat. Paul Tassi saying, "This is the most embarrassing shit I've ever seen," in reference to Tom Warren's Indiana Jones tweet. I don't think he's referencing Tom Warren's work. I think he's referencing the strategy for Microsoft, and he's followed up with a tweet that says, "Nope, I stand by this. If you're Microsoft, it shows you have no faith in the Xbox ecosystem. It goes counter to all Game Pass claims, throws your fan base into chaos with no public comment. It's not just waving the white flag, it's shooting them with the t-shirt cannon."
Well, I mean, they would. I mean, if this was Microsoft, it's not. Microsoft's not throwing people into chaos with no public comment. They're not just like, oh, by the way, it's available for pre-order in the PlayStation 5 store, and people notice. Like, Microsoft hasn't done anything. They haven't messed up their messaging, and they haven't given any messaging. So it's I don't know that I get his tweet so much, because it is very much if they mess up and they send everyone, if they had messed up initially and sent everyone into a panic, yeah. They just haven't done anything, and they've had a bunch of stuff leak, and now it's Sunday night, and so if they say something dumb tomorrow, then yeah, I get it. But I mean, for now, it's like,
yeah. Oh man, we've got some
a
more
bunch more
super chats.
a lot more.
Throwing
Starting with James Hubbard.
I can see James Hubbard's back. I agree. There's no way that this can be messaged well, and unfortunately, it will be an Xbox spokesperson and not Microsoft themselves. It's got to be someone that the Xbox community recognizes and arguably trusts. So I feel that's Matt, Phil, or Sarah. Like, personally, that's just my opinion. I don't see anyone else. You know, you can't wheel out someone no one's ever seen. The intern. Hey, can you go and do a press conference?
They just Death March Stein out there to talk in front of the cameras. I just do tweets.
Says, yeah, he says this decision would be worse than 2013's TV at this point. Just go third party. Game Pass is not enough. Otherwise, Xbox would sell massively right now. I think the point is that Game Pass isn't known about enough. Like, this bubble knows it, but I don't think, I said this on the show yesterday, I don't think play it day one on Game Pass. If I was just an average user watching that, I'd be like, oh, what's Game Pass? And I probably wouldn't follow that up. I'd just be like, well, you know what? They need more. They need to invest in that message of what Game Pass actually does and is. Because anecdotally, when I tell friends and family that exists, especially, you know, mums at the school drop off, and they're like, oh, my son plays on PlayStation. I'm like, oh. And they start complaining about how much games cost and all this, and oh, well, he doesn't have that platform, he can't play with him. I was like, oh, well, you know, imagine a thing where you've all got the same games because they're all on one service, so you never have to worry about what your son and my son can play together, because as long as they're subscribed, they've always got the same stuff. I mean, I would have killed for that when I was a kid at school.
Yeah, we have it pretty good.
Yeah, Nerds and Other Legends. Sega at least put up a fight and waited until the Dreamcast was actually dead and buried before saying, hey, we're platform agnostic now, guys. And Creaky Legs says, hi, dads. yeah, we are.
Pretty much.
Oh, man. What else? What are the other reactions out there on the wibbly wobbly web? Let's have a look. Let me have a look.
You don't have to yell a bunch in chat. You can just type normal. You don't have to capitalize it all.
Okay. Yeah.
We'll be able to see it anyways.
We are reading. We are prioritizing super chats as best we can. And on that note, I'm just reading the chat. Why not send out from Sin? Why not send out one of the execs who was pushing for the move? You know, put their money where the mouth is. Because the business has to be protected. It's not about the person now at this point.
Yeah, they're not petty.
The business is the priority. Yeah. Man, what else is there to say, Jesse? I don't know. Like, is there any other thoughts that you would...
I mean, it's just going to be interesting to see how this goes based on... everyone's very emotional right now. How do things go? How does it get messaged? Do people calm down? Does it change? Do they mess up worse? Does it get even worse? Like, I'm curious. For me, I'm mostly just going to ignore it because I like reviewing things and actually playing games way more than I like talking about the business of games. I've never been. I know people are always like, "Oh, you're super defensive." It's like, no, I I'm not interested in the business side as much. I'm way more interested in talking about games and the things, the hobby's actually for.
Yeah.
So I will just be focused on reviews because they never stop. Like, just because big news hits, I'm gonna get off here and go play a bunch more Banishers. So
Yeah, honestly, and I can't. I can talk about it. The game that I'm playing right now is
yeah, it's
full
it's
review.
been out for a
It's
while.
super. It's super the right game to be playing to just calm the soul and soothe the soul a little bit. Last couple of bits. Jez has been presumably drunk posting like a crazy man. An hour ago, he said Xbox will officially become the console to beta test PlayStation games so they can release polished and with extra content on PlayStation later.
He likes to he'll go full on negative.
Yeah,
He trends that way.
he loves Twitter. It's the way it's the way he internalizes things. Richard Hogue from Hogue Law, just quoting about Indiana Jones' tweet from Tom Warren, says, "I've never been entirely sure why I, as a gamer, should care that others are getting to experience the same games I hopefully love. I think the writing was on the wall for this really when the generation started, but solidified with stagnant console sales." Maybe that is exactly Microsoft's outlook. I think it does ignore that brand loyalty, but
Well, a big factor for it is just how incredibly expensive the hardware has been to make, and it's not getting cheaper. So they're not even able to get the double dip of doing a 1S that's a lot cheaper to make, and they can still sell it roughly similar and actually make money on it. And like PlayStation's all in on we are just going to eat costs nonstop, and Microsoft's just not interested in that as a company. As a monolithic, world dominating company, they were like, we don't need to eat loss, we're too big. But at the same time, for us we know this industry's hardcore fan base, side of things, it's like, well, what do we care about that? We know how this has worked and we're used to it. So you got to keep selling me on why I should be invested in it. And I don't know how they're going to do that, because any chance they had at properly messaging this and rolling things out and softening blows is gone. They can't do that now. It's just, it is what it is. You got a shit sandwich. How are you going to eat it?
Yeah. I think we can't say much more, folks. There's plenty out there. I'm sure there'll be plenty of reaction and discussion over the coming days. I'm sure that at some point, hopefully soon, they can't stay silent any longer in terms of all of this. If they're going to pivot, great. Let's hear about the pivot. If they're going to stick this through and follow through on it, well, okay, explain to us what's going on. But overwhelmingly, my advice, as always, is remember it's just video games. Your identity isn't dependent upon where you play them. It's still okay to just chill out.
It's their job to sell to you. Don't worry so much about figuring out how they can be better. Like on your end, I understand caring and wanting them to do better because you like the platform and you like some of the people and the games they put out. But in the end, they are a company and it is their job to figure this stuff out. So on my end, I just like playing and covering video games. So that's what I'm going to focus on. Or if you're finding yourself getting fatigued or upset or really mad about this, it's just like, well, just disconnect for a bit. Just, play stuff or don't play stuff, and don't feel the need to constantly engage with something that just isn't good for you mentally. Because boy, moderating's sure been fun.
And come on, everyone. It's okay. It's just, I need to get it on a t-shirt. It's just video games. All right. We'll still be here. Nothing's happened right yet. This is just let this play out.
Video games are not going anywhere. They are not going anywhere. They make too much money.
But as always, we appreciate all of the community chat. Thank you, chat, for being reasonable and having good conversation in there. Nothing too hyperbolic. I love that word, hyperbolic.
I see. Like, no, again, it's
then,
thousands of dollars, not just video games. Like, well, also your console's not like your console's not going to be bricked and not work. Like, they're not just going to disappear. They're not going to pull a Sega. They're too big and they're making way too much money. But I get the long term worry. I get.
Just be good to each other. All right, we'll be back. You know, Jesse and I will be following the news throughout the week.
I've got a review going live in 7 hours. Don't ask me why they set that time.
But you know, we'll, if we need to do further shows to jump on and discuss, we will do it. We'll be here all week.
Yeah, we're figuring out more stuff,
things play out.
especially for patrons. Like maybe more just chit chat shows with patrons and stuff. We can just
so much to come.
Yeah,
and don't forget, folks watching, episode 200, 3 weeks time. And as a heads up to all of our community right now, I am not here this weekend. So I will not be around.
News to me when I heard that today.
Yeah, sorry. I did tell Nick a little while ago, but I think I actually forgot. I'm away. I'm doing something. So know me on the main podcast show this Saturday, but I'll be around right up until Thursday. So up until that point, hopefully, unless something crazy happens, we'll be here. If you enjoyed the show, if you like what we do, if you want to support us and make sure that we can keep bringing you the best of what we can do, head to patreon.com/XboxEra. You can please support there. Loads of cool stuff to come and loads of cool announcements for patrons. Episode 200, 3 weeks time. We'll see you then. That's it from us. Ciao for now.
Bye-bye.